My name is Nick. This is my wife, Allison. We have 3 children. I currently serve as one of the pastors on staff at Redeemer Presbyterian Church, Redeemer.
He started meeting with Clyde because he had gotten COVID really bad. He was really sick. He was quarantined up in a room, and I was bringing him food, and he was really wrestling with some things that were going on in the church and in his own heart. And I just looked at him and I said, you preach grace and you minister grace to these people, but not to yourself. And so I've seen him do a complete 180 in his own understanding of who Christ is for him, not just who Christ is for other people.
The highlight for me is by far the coaching. And the reason for that is because, as Todd Bolsinger talks about, okay, there's an aspect where you can learn leadership by reading a book, going to a conference, having an experience. But then when you get into the context of leadership, those principles, the things you've learned, they just kind of go out the window. And so having someone who I can speak to in the moment and help me apply what's going on in my heart, think through wise course of action, and lead gospel renewal in that particular context has by far been one of the highlights for me. So I would have to say coaching. Something that definitely made an impact on me throughout the curriculum would be a time where in our cohort we talked about an article written by Henry Nouwen, where he talks about identity and community and mission in the role of a leader, and probably in the role of a Christian for that matter. But in the identity piece, he really hammers home how our primary identity is that we're beloved. Time in the Word, time in prayer, beginning the day of listening to hear the voice of my Father and operating out of that identity that I'm a beloved Son of God.
As a member of our church, I get the privilege of sitting and listening, and I've sat and listened to pre-Inago and post-Inago Nick. This has shifted his preaching that's more effective it's in his gut. And so it's impossible for us as a congregation to not leave having met with Jesus.
The health of a local congregation comes down to the health of the leadership, period. And so what I've seen is, as I've gotten healthier, as our sessions gotten healthier, our church has gotten healthier. And so I would tell guys who might feel that they're not worth the investment, or there's better ways to spend money for the health of the church. I would say, the best thing that you can do for your people is actually you yourself.
He's a completely different man in terms of understanding who he is in Christ.
I would say throughout Inago, if you were to summarize, what am I walking away with, what skills? I know Jesus better. And do I need to know more about him? Absolutely. Will I get to know more of him? Yes. But throughout Inago, I've seen more and more how good Jesus is to sinners like me.